community. Let's start with a question. What does it look like to live your truth when it feels risky or uncomfortable? We are talking today about walking the edge of life. And this month is about embracing the edge. And when I think about this theme, I think of all the brilliant ideas I've had, and then I've secretly kept them to myself. And all the times I've had a thought or an opinion, and I shrunk away for fear of all the things. So I'm going to start with a reading from Howard Thurman, The Inward Journey. And I'm going to read it slow, intentionally, because the first time I read it, it didn't land. So he writes in a particular way that it just took my mind some time to really understand. So take a breath with me. Howard Thurman says, "It is a world-shattering disclosure that the stream of life is a single stream, though it takes various forms as it spills over into time and space. This disclosure is made to anyone whose discipline sends them on high adventure within their own spirit, their own inner life, by prayer, by the deep inward gaze which opens the eyes of the soul." And I pause because that statement alone just brings so much to me. By prayer, by the deep inward gaze, which opens the eyes of the soul to behold the presence of God, a person feels the steady rhythm of life itself. God seems to be behind the scene of all persons, things, and events. I want to read that one again. God seems to be behind the scene of all person, things, and events. The deep hunger to be understood is at last seen to be one and the same with the hunger to understand. Out of such an experience, a new perspective emerges. Consciously now, the primary function or mission of life becomes that of achieving in act what one has experienced in insight. I'm going to read that one again too. Out of such of an experience, a new perspective emerges. Consciously now, the primary function or mission of life becomes that of achieving in act what one has experienced in insight. One is ever on the hunt for openings in others through which this may be achieved. Human need in all of its dimensions is the swinging door into the innermost life of another. To put it differently, it is the point at which the spirit is most highly sensitized for communication. If a person is moved from within their own spirit to do the deed of ministering to the need of another, and if the need of another is the point at which the spirit is most highly sensitized to communication, then it follows that the good deed is a meeting place for the mingling of one life with another. It's so beautiful. It follows that the good deed is a meeting place for the mingling of one life with another. What a person has experienced in insight, they achieve in the deed. What a difference giving makes now. It is no longer an offering merely of money or time or services viewed as a sacrifice or a cause for merit, recognition, or glory. It is a simple sacrament involving all of a person as their spirit moves through the swinging door of need into the very citadel of another spirit. That's Howard Thurman from The Inward Journey. That passage alone is so powerful to me because I think that what I've experienced personally and through many other people that I've had conversations with about studying Ernest Holmes and Science of Mind and Thomas Troward and Neville Goddard and all these amazing New Thought teachers, Emma Hopkins, is that there's so much inspiration that comes, and how many of us actually take it into action? How many of us actually really move it into that practice of finding connection with others? I've recently discovered uh, this group. It's called Authentic Relating, and they call it circling. And I'd never heard of it before I moved here to Arizona, and I can't believe I've missed it. And if you haven't experienced it yourself, look for it because I bet you can find it in your communities. Authentic Relating. And it's all about finding connection. And in the practices that we do as games, what happens is we slow the conversation down. We become very intentional in our listening, in our communications. We become very aware of what's happening internally as well as what's happening externally. But it happens because we slow it down. Our world is moving fast. Did you notice? And so, this idea that Howard Thurman is presenting to us about finding that moment of connection, that moment of inspiration where we move into the deed, into the act, where spirit is connecting with spirit and there's a communication happening. That's a powerful, powerful thing. And yet, we don't do it. Not often. Maybe not often enough. And so, what is it? What is it that holds us back from that edge, from stepping into that place of authenticity, that place of vulnerability? And I think that's exactly what walking the edge is all about, right? It is about recognizing within ourselves that there is something deeper than our ego mind. There is something just beneath our palm. I love that statement. That's a Dr. Joe Dispenza thing, by the way. Give him a little credit. Just beneath our palm. And that recognition that that presence is living, breathing you, that you're an extension of it. And how many times a day do we actually remember that? I know for me, I forget all the time. I think it's just me, Melinda, in here having my own little Melinda quirky world. And I forget that that presence, the I am, is what's here. And it's what's moving and it's what's inspiring me to do the things that I do when I allow it, right? Our egos, our little small s selves can get in the way. And it can hold us back And it can put us out in the world in ways that maybe aren't spirit led. I asked Reverend Charlene, we always have these really good talks before we go live. And I asked Reverend Charlene, what do you do with haters? And I think it's such an interesting conversation. I was in a Course of Miracles class last week, and we were actually talking about the haters. It's all perspective, isn't it? It's all perspective. And what I love about the Course of Miracles is it helps rewire my perspective. And through the conversation and through the teachings of the Course of Miracles, it really helped me see someone not as a hater. It helped me see a call for love. I know the world is challenging right now. And there's so many opportunities where our little s self would like to go out into the world with judgment, with criticism, with fear, with a firm hold on a particular belief or bias or a past hurt or trauma. But that's not love. And so as we walk the edge of life, I'm really in this quandary right now of the question, what would love do? And when I look at the idea of we are all seeking connection, that spirit is seeking that moment of high sensitivity where spirit can connect with another spirit of high sensitivity. And in that place of connection is communication of spirit to spirit. And so walking the edge of life, the teachings of science of mind tell us that what we think, what we feel, what we believe is what we're creating. I believe that to the very core of my being. I just see it again and again and again. And yet I still believe the world is scary. I say it multiple times, and I'm starting to question whether I want to continue saying it, that the world's on fire. Because what am I contributing? What am I, with the presence that's just beneath my palm and the power to create universes? What am I creating? Through my own perspective. The idea of walking on the edge of life and these teachings really do call us to embody the presence, to remember that my small s self is not, it's not the reality of Melinda. The presence beneath my palm that I am an extension of is the reality of what is here in this form. I just picked up this book, The Practice of Immortality by Ishan Shivanand. I hope I pronounced that right. And what I really thought was interesting, I'm just starting it. It's a monk's guide to discovering your unlimited potential for health, happiness, and positivity. And what really blew me away, and I think it was just in the introduction, was the idea that if I see myself as a creation of the creator, I've already stepped into separation. My mind went kaboom. I'm like, wait, what? But to see ourselves as the extension of, that's the deeper truth. And when we are an extension of, that's where the immortality does exist, right? Now, I haven't really gotten very far, so more to be said. I'll share more next month probably. But walking on the edge of life into conversations that are challenging, into situations that maybe go against your core values. There's plenty of opportunities right now for that. And what do we do and what do we say in the moment? And how do we be? How do we be the presence beneath our palm more than the capital S self? I went to a community meeting yesterday, and there's this tradition of sharing a joke. I will do my best to share this joke. Uh, three old men died and go to heaven and are met by Saint Peter. And they're welcomed in to heaven. And Saint Peter says, but there's one thing, it's like you can't step on the ducks. There's lots and lots of ducks because God loves these creatures. They are sacred creatures. Do not step on them. And that was the only thing. That was the only rule of going into heaven. And so the first man instantly, because there's so many of them, accidentally steps on a duck. And St. Peter brings, and this is the joke, so just take a breath with me because I reacted to this. So St. Peter brought an ugly woman and handcuffed her to him as punishment for stepping on the duck. And there's chuckling happening in the room. And then the second man, a few months later, same thing, duck, handcuffed, ugly woman. And then the third man, being very, very, very careful to not step on ducks. One day, St. Peter comes and handcuffs a beautiful woman, gorgeous, blonde, young, vibrant, voluptuous. And he's like, well, I don't understand what's happened. I haven't stepped on a duck. I don't understand this. And the woman says, well, I did. So if you didn't see Tamara's face, she just went, oh. And yes, that's cute and that's funny, but I couldn't find anything funny about it. Not because I don't have a sense of humor, but because I have a deeper sense of what's sacred and holy. And because I see certain messages that are trolling around in our collective mind that devalues people based on how they look, as if it were to be punishment to be with someone that society considered ugly. And it hurt my heart. Did I speak up in the moment? I did not. I wouldn't know what to say. But I did have an opportunity later to stand in my truth. And I went out to lunch with someone who was there, and she said to me, she goes, you didn't seem to really enjoy the joke. And she thought it was because it was a religious thing. She's like, well, I thought it was because, you weren't, all about heaven and all. I'm like, no, I love the idea of heaven. And I love the idea of the pearly gates and all of that. I don't know that I subscribe or believe in it, but I love the idea that there is this place of beauty and peace and welcoming and openness and this sense of come, beloved, come be with me, be in the home, in the house of the divine. Like, I love that idea. But the idea that value is placed on youth and what is this perceived beauty, I just didn't want anything to do with it. And I was able to at least speak that truth in that moment in a way where it felt like a risk. It felt like maybe this is something I shouldn't be saying. It won't be well received. And in some way, it wasn't. And that's okay. And so, what I really want you to walk away with today is this question. What does it look like to live my truth when it feels risky or uncomfortable? What are you willing to speak up and out against when it hurts your heart? And I don't know that there's a right or a wrong answer, but I think that there's courageous steps that we can take to move towards that more embodied sense of presence, that we are never the extension of, sorry, we are not never the object of, we are not the created, we are the extension of the creator. We are that presence, and it's right here. I find myself doing this a lot lately when I listen to the news, when I listen to clients. I find this connection, my hand on my heart, and remembering beneath my palm is that presence, that wisdom of who I am. And it is the courage that I need to be in the face of a call for love. I don't even know that I want to call them haters anymore, even though that there is hatred in the space. I love that idea that there are people, situations, and circumstances in the world that are calling for love. And I think it's starting right here with each and every one of us. We're in such deep need of connection, of remembering that deeper sacred truth of who we are, what we are. We are the extension of the power that created the universe. And I love listening to Neville Goddard. And yes, I know it's AI. I love his voice and I love his cadence. And that simple phrase, it is done. It is done. And my word is law. And that power is the recognition that I am the extension of that creative force that brought all of this into being. And that I can continue to exclaim that into the heavens that says no more. No more violence against women, no more violence against children, no more. And it starts here in that, and it is done. But it starts here, right? And so I invite you as you go out into this week to practice this. Just beneath my palm is that presence, is the extension of who I am. I am the wave coming out of the ocean. I am not separate from that. And with it comes all the power and all the presence and all the glory and all the grace and all the wisdom and the words. And if the words don't come, then maybe the silence is what's needed. I'm asking you to step out into the world more fully embodied, bringing these teachings, bringing this knowing into the world, because you are the presence. You are the extension of the one mind, one heart, one life, one love that we are all part of. And to begin to see the world as a call for love. And so with that, I'm going to step into prayer. And so I invite you again to bring your hands to your heart. Make that connection just beneath your palms is that presence, that deep love, that one life that we are all a part of. And even though it's hard to comprehend, I do recognize and I see that presence in a sunrise. I see it in the burst of a flower. I see it in the expanse of the canyons. I see it in the kindness of a simple hello. I see it all around me. At the back of all things is this presence, this one life. It is beauty, it is love, it is kind. And what I know is true is it is in the back of all situations, it is in the center of all beings. That every cry for love is an opportunity for us to stand in that place of remembering a deeper truth of who we are and what we are standing in front of. How wonderful it is to recognize this presence. What I know and affirm is this divine presence is in, through, and around all things, no matter how they appear, no matter how disconnected, how misaligned. I know and affirm that the presence of God, of love, of the divine, of the holy, of the sacred is right where I am, right where we are in the midst of it all. And with that, I know is the perfect blueprint of health, well-being, inclusivity, kindness, caring, opportunity, connection, love. And I know for each and every one of us that truly every prayer is answered with yes. And I'm so grateful, so grateful for the love that is present within me, within each and every one of us. I am so grateful for the power of creation that we each hold. I am so grateful for yet again another day to be in connection with that which lives just beyond my palms. I release this knowing it's done, that this love, this light is all throughout everything and everyone, and I just allow it to be. And so it is.